Chosen one, listen carefully. Not everyone who walked with you was meant to walk into your next season. Some were assignments, some were lessons, some were mirrors, but not all were destiny. And when they left, it hurt more than you expected, because you didn't just lose people, you lost familiarity, routine, shared memories, the version of yourself that existed around them. You asked God, why remove them now? Why like this? But heaven says this: they had to leave so you could finally rise. Because sometimes loyalty becomes limitation. You were adjusting your growth to maintain certain connections, softening your voice, reducing your ambition, hiding your clarity, avoiding uncomfortable truths. Not because you were weak, but because you didn't want to outgrow anyone. And growth that is suppressed eventually turns into frustration. So I allowed separation, not to punish you, not to isolate you, but to free you. Free you from shrinking, free you from explaining, free you from carrying relationships that could not support who you're becoming. You see, not everyone can celebrate your elevation. Some people prefer the version of you that was uncertain, dependent, less aware, less powerful. But you are not that person anymore. And the moment you stopped shrinking, distance appeared. Not loudly, just naturally. Conversations became fewer, energy shifted, paths diverged, and you felt the loss deeply. Because endings, even necessary ones, still hurt. But here is what you didn't see. While you were grieving what left, space was being created for what fits. Space for connections that don't require editing yourself. Space for opportunities that don't demand compromise. Space for growth without apology. You cannot rise while carrying what anchors you to past identity. Some people leave because they are against you. Others leave because they simply cannot go where you're going. And that is not bitterness. That is destiny. You were not abandoned. You were unburdened. Now notice something subtle. Since the separation, your clarity has increased, your peace has stabilized, your confidence has strengthened. You are thinking differently, moving differently, deciding differently. That is what freedom feels like. You are no longer negotiating your growth. You are embracing it. And what's coming next will not require you to shrink. It will require you to stand fully. They had to leave because your rising could no longer be delayed.
Chosen one, what if the people who walked away were not taken from you, but removed for you? What if the distance wasn't rejection, but divine repositioning? And what if the reason it hurt so deeply is because you were shedding an old version of yourself along with them? Stay with me. Because what feels like loss may actually be the beginning of your elevation. Chosen one, separation is one of the hardest forms of growth, because growth does not only expand your future, it rearranges your present. When certain people left your life, you felt more than absence. You felt destabilized, because those connections were part of your emotional rhythm, your daily structure, your sense of familiarity. And when that rhythm breaks, you feel exposed. But hear this clearly. You were not exposed to be harmed. You were exposed to be strengthened. Some relationships function as comfort, but not capacity. They feel safe, but they do not stretch you. And when it is time to rise, comfort cannot remain your foundation. You were outgrowing shared identity. Growth does not just change your goals, it changes your identity. Your conversations deepened, your standards rose, your tolerance for confusion decreased. You started thinking differently, seeing patterns more clearly, desiring purpose more intentionally. And when identity shifts, shared identity can dissolve. You were no longer aligned with the same frequency, not because anyone was wrong, but because your direction changed. And when direction changes, alignment must follow. Why it hurt so much? Let's be honest. It hurt because you cared. You invested time, energy, emotion. You imagined future moments that would include them, and when that picture faded, it felt like something inside you fractured. But what fractured was not your heart. It was attachment to what could not evolve with you. Attachment feels like love, but sometimes it is simply familiarity. And familiarity resists change. The pain you felt was the breaking of attachment, not the breaking of destiny. You were carrying more than you realized. Here is something deeper. You were not only connected to those people, you were carrying them. Carrying their expectations, their limitations, their perception of who you were. Sometimes you adjusted yourself to remain acceptable in those relationships. You softened your ambition, dimmed your clarity, filtered your growth, not consciously, but subtly. And that subtle shrinking was slowing your rise. So separation became necessary. Not because you failed, but because your growth required space. Elevation requires lightness. You cannot rise while overburdened. Elevation demands lightness. Lightness in mindset, lightness in emotional weight, lightness in responsibility for others' reactions. When separation happened, it removed emotional weight you had normalized. And now, notice something. You feel clearer. Not because everything is perfect, but because energy is no longer divided. You are not managing perceptions, not negotiating identity, not sustaining dynamics that drain you. You are simply moving. That is freedom. The hidden purpose of separation. There is something sacred about this season. It is teaching you independence of spirit. You are learning to stand without leaning, to move without constant validation, to rise without applause. That strength is rare, because many people rise quickly but collapse when support shifts. You are being built to stand even when alone. And standing alone does not mean isolated. It means grounded. What is coming next? Here is what you must understand. Separation always precedes strategic connection. Before new alignment arrives, old alignment must clear. Before elevation becomes visible, limitation must detach. And now that space has been created, new energy can enter. People who resonate with your growth, conversations that stimulate clarity, partnerships that support expansion. Not because you chased them, but because you rose into compatibility. Your rise is already beginning. You may not see dramatic change yet, but internally you are different. More stable, more confident, more decisive. You are no longer afraid to outgrow, no longer afraid to stand firm, no longer afraid to move forward without everyone. That is the beginning of your rise. And when you fully rise, you will look back and realize they did not leave to hurt you, they left to release you. Closing declaration. Chosen one. Separation was not sabotage, it was strategic. You were not abandoned, you were unburdened. You were not rejected, you were repositioned. And because the weight has lifted, you are now light enough to rise.